So we've been using the Milwaukee M18 fuel D-handled jigsaw for a few months now. This is a Gen 2 upgrade from the earlier version, and this new saw, it has a brushless motor, increased strokes per minute, dust collection built in, and LED light. So because of the brushless motor and a lot of the electronics that Milwaukee has worked into this, this saw actually operates at a higher blade speed than a corded jigsaw. At 3,500 strokes per minute, it's capable of cutting 105 lineal feet in 3/4 inch laminated particle board. And guys, that's the equivalent to about 18 sink cutouts. I know a lot of guys are using marble and stuff now, but it's a good comparison. We tested the noise level in the shop. I was curious about how noisy this was. It was around 101 decibels. I do want to talk to you about the variable speed on the saw, because there is no variable speed dial. It does have a variable speed trigger that controls the saw from 0 to 3,500 SPM. This is a blade stroke increase from the older saw, and that older saw was 2,700 strokes per minute. So we like that the trigger on the saw is larger. It actually can accommodate 2 fingers, and that actually, I think, it reduces stress and fatigue on the user, on the fingers and the pad of the finger. But not having a variable speed dial is an issue with us. And basically that means it requires you to operate the tool with divided attention tasks. That means you have to squeeze the trigger for the variable speed, and you gotta control it to the speed you desire, all while trying to make a great cut. So for precise tasks, I prefer a saw that has a variable speed setting that lets you set and forget, right? Set, forget the speed, then I just pull the trigger, pull it fully, and I focus on making that precise cut. We also found while testing that the variable speed trigger was not as sensitive as we'd like to see it. So you couldn't get that super slow start. It actually starts at a faster ramp up rate than we'd prefer. Let's talk about accuracy and blade deflection. I often find that a jigsaw's quality can be summed up pretty fast if you try to do a 45-degree bevel cut on a piece of 3/4 plywood. If that saw lets you cut that bevel nice and straight without fighting you the whole way, you got a pretty good winning combination. Well, the Milwaukee saw had no problem making a nice, straight 45-degree bevel cut. Easy, a lot of power in the saw. We tested the saw in mahogany decking, pine, which was like paper, and plywood. The saw cuts well in all of those materials and tracks really well. We made straight 45 bevels, scroll cuts. We checked for square and parallels. We also did some moderate and very aggressive scroll cutting in plywood. And again, I'm doing this to kind of put these saws to the limit, test them. And on this test, we did see some moderate deflection on the aggressive scrolls. Let me see, when the saw was in its highest orbital setting, it will absolutely plow through wood easily. There's no wish for more power on this saw. All jigsaws, they employ some sort of counterbalance system, and that's to reduce the up and down, shaking created by the reciprocating plunger in the blade, right? The Milwaukee does have noticeable vibration, and more vibration than the new DeWalt XR jigsaw that we just tested. So let's go on and talk about blade changing and stroke. The front of the tool has a plastic keyless slide actuated blade change that actually ejects the blade. It shoots the blade a little bit. It uses standard T-shaped planes. The saw has a 1-inch stroke length and 4-position orbital action switch. And that's to allow the jigsaw the user the versatility when cutting different materials. Keyless shoe bevel that actually has positive indents, detents for 0, 15, 30, and 45 degrees, but it also will hold its position, and did hold its position well in between them, which I was curious about. The M18 fuel saw has one integrated LED light. It illuminated the blade area well. It stays on for about 11 seconds after the trigger is released. New to the saw, they have this Cutline Blower. So there's an on-off Cutline Blower that keeps the cut line clear of sawdust. Basically, it allows you to turn it on or off if you're using dust extraction, because you want to be able to direct the blower towards the dust extraction. So they come with a dust cover that goes around the blade and a dust extraction tube. And the saw, when it's connected with this tube in a vacuum, it does a reasonably good job in non-orbitable cutting mode. Otherwise, if you're doing orbital, it really gets aggressive and it throws it everywhere. The saw weighs 6.4 pounds with a 5 amp hour battery and 4.8 bare tool. There's a lot of plastic parts in this saw, and it's probably because they wanted to try to keep the weight down on an already big saw. The two plastic parts that worry me are the blade, bevel lever, and the blade release. Time will only tell how these items are going to hold up on the job site. As far as improvements go on the saw, it's a bulky saw. Even with the plastic parts, it comes in on the heavier side of what I like to see a jigsaw. I'd like to see Milwaukee address the tool vibration. It needs to be reduced a little bit. And I think that they should also consider a variable speed dial on this saw. As far as how much and where to buy, I saw it online. I've seen it at Amazon. I think it was a few other places, Acme Tools. It's going to sell online as a bare tool for around $199 and kitted for $299. Both options will come with the dust tube, the shoe guard, anti-splitter guard, and as well as, I said the dust chute, right? The kit will come with a 5 amp hour battery, charger, and a case. So overall conclusion, the M18 Fuel D-handle saw is definitely an improvement over the earlier version. It has a ton of power, added LED, dust collection. It is certainly an effective tool, but it's not quite where I'd want it to be my go-to saw. If you'd like to learn more about this saw or any of the Milwaukee tools that we've reviewed, please go to toolboxbuzz.com. We've got a whole selection of tools there for you to read about and learn more about, as well as videos. If you like this video, please consider subscribing, and we'll see you at the next tool review. Take care.